Howdy, this is Marisa with Marisa Moments podcast, Healing While I Heal, where I share my real life stories and their healing translations. So let's just get straight into it. So Spirit brought into my awareness several stories about persons from my history, my generational history, right? And one of the stories that sticks to mind, and it's very brief, so don't feel like you have to buckle in, is that this specific person would always lay on the couch exhausted at the end of the day, or sometimes in the middle or beginning of the day, anytime throughout the day, with the back of their hand on their forehead, very exasperated, with a loud sigh and say something to the effect of, "I can't take this," or "Here we go again," or whatever it might be, right? And the reason that story was often shared with me is because I was often compared to that story, right? Like, "Oh yeah, that's you. That's you." And what Spirit kind of brought into my awareness is that we often get told those "that's you" stories, right? We get compared to sometimes the highlight reels, but more often than not, at least in my situation and background, it would always be the complex shade, right? The passive aggressive put downs, let downs, whatever, however you want to look at it, right? And it would always kind of bring about like thoughts and emotions that I never even was aware of, where I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't even think of myself as doing that. But I mean, if you say so, I guess maybe that is me," right? And so then I would start feeding into that role, because basically that was someone handing me a script and a role that I needed to play out from there, because I'm that person, right? And what I received is obviously wrong. I don't have a buzzer sound, but we'll do this one. Boop. There we go. That's like a gunshot. I don't know. Sorry. I don't have a great budget for my sound effects. But anyway, what I received behind that is people are going to tell us all the time who we are, try to pass us scripts for, different roles and all those types of things. And honestly, when you're not quite in a healing place, or even aware that you are in need of healing, it's easy to adopt those roles. It's easy to add those roles into your persona, right? It's easy to just kind of embody that notion. Oh, okay, so I'm such and such, so I need to play that role. I need to be that character. I need to be that embodiment of it, right? It's the same thing as if you watch a movie or something, Friends, or even without Friends, and you watch and you see the characters on screen and you're like, "Oh, you know what? That Joe is definitely Deontay," right? And then you tell your friends, you elbow them, or your significant other, whomever you're watching the movie with, and you're like, "Isn't that Deontay? Oh my God, that is definitely Deontay." And by the time Deontay comes up, you're like, "Deontay, I saw this movie. You have to watch it. Joe, the character Joe in it was 1000% you. You need to watch it. You basically gonna see yourself." And then Deontay gets to watching it. He's either like, "Nah, that ain't me," or "I guess that could be me," right? And either way, it's going to have an impact, right? So the bottom line to this bottom line is we got to stop accepting these roles, right? Well, first and foremost, we got to work hard on not trying to prescribe roles to others. But at the same time, it's more about the sovereign journey, right? So we can't really dictate how somebody else is going to receive that information that we give. The only thing that we can do is work on subscribing these roles, or accepting the roles that we're prescribed. I always get those words mixed up. But anyway, again, bottom line is that's not you. It doesn't have to be you. It might be picking up on something that you've done once and then expanding it and exacerbating it to be who you are as an entire individual, right? Just because you do something one time doesn't mean that that's your life. And just because you do something 5 times doesn't mean that that's your life either. It's up to you to decide. That's the bottom line. It's never up to anybody else to define us as individuals. This healing journey that we're all on is basically taking away that script that we're being handed by outsiders, right? And allowing us to sink into our own natural character and role. And not even saying role, because that feels like very like labelist, right? But allows us to be who we are organically, naturally, divinely, all of those things. So That's it. Don't take on the role just because somebody says that's who you are. And if this message resonates, then that means it's for you. And if not, that's cool too. Just keep it pushing. Either way, I thank you for listening, and I wish you the very best day ever. Until next time, you know the vibes. Peace. And by the way, don't forget to check me out on all of social media. I'm basically everywhere you probably shouldn't be. But when you look me up, make sure you look up Marisa Moments, and that is Marisa with one S because there is only one me. And until next time, happy healing.